Good afternoon, morning, or evening, wherever you are watching in the world. So today it is episode 3 of the Luminary Business Blueprint Live. So I've even got hard copies of these gorgeous things now. There's some very exciting news that I will share at the end about all of this. So the Luminary Business Blueprint, the alternative way to planning strategically, business, projects, personal life, whatever, in a completely different way than what convention has instilled in us to do till now. So yes, I had several decades in corporate, smart objectives, budget planning, month, quarters, all that kind of stuff. And it just felt so arbitrary to me. So contrived, just there's a disjoint for me. So yes, I can do it. And I did it for 20 odd years. But did it give me any joy? No. And I like planning inherently. That's some part of my Capricorn. I just couldn't, it just doesn't do anything for me. And it was the realization that actually that is inherently masculine. There has to be another way of doing these things. And that is when I came across a number of years ago by following lunar cycles. So this guide that you can download the PDF version on the links close to where you're watching this video. It gives you a rundown of what actually lunar cycles mean and then how you can apply that concept to your planning. And like I said, whether that's personal or professional. And from that, I then also give you some templates. Well, there's templates, but there's also prompts, like journaling prompts, as to how to then really weave this concept into how you tangibly go about using it, applying it to help you succeed to your greatest advantage. And that's my whole point, that yes, what's out there might already work for you, brilliant. But it can't, by definition, work for everyone. You know, one size does not fit all. I'm giving this alternative. And even if you're just a little bit kind of woo curious about it, or how could this really help me, then just dig in, watch this. It's all for free, 20 minutes or so of your time. But there is so much power in it. And I'm coming from a place of really encouraging and empowering you. I believe in everyone being able to achieve their limitless potential. And maybe this is just the thing you need to unlock that limitless potential. Because if you're trying to fit into a box that you don't fit into, everything else is going to be harder work. That success is more elusive. That success just feels out of reach, just a little bit too much. Whereas if you have an alternative, then who knows where that might lead you. So, my darling, today we're moving into, we're not quite there yet, but we're about to move into the phase that is what we call the first quarter moon. So I started this process on the new moon back on the 4th of August. And ever since then, so that was dark, we couldn't see the moon. And then just as the moon is then moving, its orbit, sun's orbit, so how we're all sort of working together, we're now seeing slowly more and more of the moon in our sky each night. And so very soon, if not tonight, but very next day or so, you're going to see what we call it looks like a half moon, but we call it a quarter moon because it's 3D and your language is complicated, isn't it? Because actually I like to talk in 5D, not 3D. But you appreciate that if you imagine the moon as maybe like a ball or an orange, what we can see actually is the first quarter highlighted, not just the half. Okay. So if the naming convention doesn't work for you, just know this is the first quarter phase. And the first quarter phase is really marked by a vibe of being bold. So what we've got is we've got that more illumination happening. So the moon, what we can see is getting more and more. So there's an energy growing. That's a key point. But also when we look at the moon, it is the half and half is what we see. And so that kind of invites a balance or perspective. And kind of like a driving perseverance. This energy is continuing. So take all of that and then applying that to how you are taking action on your intentions, which is what you set at the beginning of the cycle, which was on the 4th of August. How you apply it to them, is this like kind of, you've got this gift of knowing when to, really go all out, when to put the accelerator on and then when to put the brake on. So as I mentioned on episode 2, that there is a driving energy now, and that may feel masculine and it may feel exhausting if all you've done is push up until now. That's hard work. But my advice, as I mentioned last time, and I'll say it again now as well, it's really important, is that following a lunar cycle, it's not always going to be push. There's definitely going to be, we will talk about it, a distinct phase, time of the month, the month, where we will take stock, take breath, pause, reset. That will definitely happen. But as the energy is growing, as we're seeing more of the moon, as it is growing visually in our skies each night up until this point of the full moon, which isn't, we're not there yet. So we've got this growing energy, growing illumination, growing inspiration, growing kind of like spotlight direction of where we want to go. It is time to be bold and adventurous and, like I said, driving towards those intentions. It's kind of like that. Let that growing light of the moon illuminate your path, which is just wonderful, just wonderful. And so then on page 10, if you have the PDF version, then you've got some space for journaling as to what to do and how to apply that type of energy to your business planning. It's very much about it could be the start of some challenge. Naturally, whenever we go for something, whenever something starts to grow, something starts to increase, there's somehow some kind of doubt that comes in, or some kind of stumbling that slows us down. And so my absolute advice to you right now in this phase is to not let those mind monkeys derail the progress that you're making towards your intentions. So easier said than done. I'm going to come up with some journaling prompts to help you through that phase, if that is what's happening to you right now. But like I said, as a vibe, it's about bravery, it's about boldness. Still very much with that Leo energy. So Leo, the sun is in Leo right now, which is all about bold, courageous adventure. Kind of really owning your power, taking the spotlight and loving it. That's really a Leo vibe. And we've all got Leo in our chart, irrespective of when you were born. So it's channeling that and channeling the energy towards those intentions that you set at the beginning of the cycle. And then really noticing if those challenges occur. And when I talk about challenges, it's kind of like, it's the shadow work. It's the stealth in the shadows. It's the fear, it's the doubts that are going to creep up now, that might cause you to question what you're doing, the actions you're taking, the intentions that you have, especially if they are bold and you're breaking ground with them, so to speak, whatever that looks like to you. So where that happens is kind of like call it out, pin it, but don't be derailed by them. Now I'm going to talk you through some options that you've got, which are additional to the business blueprint PDF that you have. So ask yourself, and this is what's in the PDF, what are you focusing on? What are you doubling down on to bring into fruition those intentions? It's a universal law. Manifestation does not happen just by wishing for it. It requires an action, aligned action from you. So what is that aligned action you can take, and really hone in on the focus? So practically speaking, how might you do that? What can you do? Well, absolutely, visualization is a stellar tactic here. And it's kind of going back to your intentions, maybe, just for a couple of minutes every day. I like to do this in the morning. And like I said, everything I'm talking you through is what I do. been running my business now by lunar cycles for several years. But if you go back, revisit your intentions, which you've got the template for in the PDF as well, that you wrote down from the 4th of August, and then really visualize the full sensory experience of you achieving those intentions. What can you see? What can you smell? What can you hear? What are you doing? How are you being? Really feel into everything about that intention. As far as you can, imagine the experience of that as you see it. That's so super powerful in so many ways, and not least because we can actually do that. As a human being, we can actually visualize something that's not happened yet. But the thing is, the quantum science behind all of this is that actually, let's just start with neuroscience. Let's just start there. By you imagining and you thinking through, feeling through, you are creating new neural pathways in your brain, and so it's creating a new reality. And it's exactly the same concept as elite sports people when they go through their track, go through their event, just in visualization mode. And there's been lots of scientific experiments that will show that if you, for example, if you play the piano physically, or if you read the music and just work through the notes as if you were playing them, but work with your hands still, it's still the same part of your brain that is firing that would if you're actually doing it physically. So by you visualizing your intentions, you're creating those neural pathways that is creating a new reality. The brain doesn't differentiate between reality and visualization in this concept. And so by doing that, then that is creating that future version of you, and that is talking then directly to your subconscious, and that's going to help rewrite any scripts that you need in terms of limiting beliefs that are holding you back. So it's potent practice, visualizing you achieving in the fullest experience, fullest sensory somatic version of that experience, visualizing it. Then other things that you can be doing is kind of like being really careful at crafting your day on the steps and really asking yourself. And if you need an accountability buddy with this, then do speak to someone that you know, love and trust, who can help you with this. And if you want it to be me, then that's fine. Just message me and say, this is the accountability I need for this week. This is what I need to do. This is the aligned action that I want to take that's going to bring me closer to achieving my soul goals and intentions this cycle. That's all you need to say. And then I'll come back and just with a load of love, check in that you've done it. So you can message me on Facebook or Instagram to do that. But yeah, it's that. What have you got to do today? And you can plan it out by day or by the week. What are the steps that you need to be taking? The aligned action, the decisions and the actions that you're taking that are going to bring into fruition that intention. Like I started to say before I start talking about the brain, is this whole concept of the universal law that you can't just wish for something to happen. There's an element of that happen, the energetic vibration. The more that you're doing to achieve something, then you're going to get that energy back. It's partly why you definitely need to be visualizing as well, so that you're feeling that you have already achieved this, that you are succeeding, and then we'll get that energy back. But also undertaking the actions is vital for that energetic signature to come back to you. And then journal or meditate as the challenges arrive. So this is when working through this is kind of like massaging out the knots, verbally speaking. So if you are getting the mind monkeys over the next few days, it's kind of like go back to your purpose, like that bigger version of events, that thing that's bigger than you. Why are you doing what you're doing? And then even extend that further. And what would happen if you didn't do it? What do you believe to be true about what you're doing, your intentions? What will be left if you didn't do this thing? And then what do you believe to be true about your intentions? That can help counteract some of any limiting beliefs that might be, very shallow. They don't very often pop up as a hello, I'm a limiting belief. It doesn't always happen that clearly. So these are prompts to sort of get you to, if you journal or meditate or, go for a ponder and a wonder. But these are kind of the questions to wrestle with, to see what comes up. Why are you feeling that you can't do something? Why is something feeling more difficult than when you originally sat down on the new moon and said, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to achieve? So what's coming up for you that's causing you to doubt that? Where is your belief being diluted? Journal on that. What would your future self say to you right now? So at this point in this is sort of the progression of what you are bringing to fruition with regard to your intentions and your soul goals, what would your future self say to you? And like I said, what decisions and actions do you take in your most boldest version of you? Really put that Leo lens on and think through what would be the most boldest version of you. And really claim your queen energy. Claim your queen energy. Be bold and be beautiful. And use that to counteract any of the limiting beliefs, which are just as the doubt and how the self-belief dissolves. We need to sort of power that back up. It's kind of like mixing with the dials. We want to dial down the self-doubt, and we want to dial up the self-belief. And how do you do that? It is working through it as those problems come up, as the challenges come up, understanding them. And even if you can't understand them, you don't, it's not that you need hours and hours of therapy to understand the belief. Sometimes it's just a case of, well, what belief would serve me right now? Let's look at that. And that's the kind of thing that you can be doing in this phase if you're coming across the challenges. But before that, let's take the step that you're taking the actions to bring into fruition intentions that you set just over a week ago. Okay, so that is our first quarter phase. Bold energy, claim your queen, and let me know if you need some accountability with taking that aligned action to bring into fruition what you intended for your greatest success. You, my darling, are worth it. Take care of you.